and they literally said I was trying to get into Disney, but they don't even want my money. I don't even know how to get into the parks anymore. It has become a complicated nightmare just to get into the park.
This is a decade of incompetence. I mean, really.
Attendance is declining at the 4 Disney World theme parks. The Journal recently reported average July 4th wait times at Magic Kingdom were 20 minutes shorter than in 2019.
Okay, pause there, Valiant. We can go a little bit deeper than this article. I'm not going to do this often. I talked with somebody who is very high up in the parks. They say that actually the more meaningful statistic is that queue times allegedly are about 60% less than what they were in 2019. Mm-hmm. Now, if let's say that you take out the big rides, okay? Well, they did that with Splash Mountain, but that's neither here nor there for now. But let's say you take out Space Mountain, you take out Tron, you take Big Thunder Mountain Railroad out, et cetera, et cetera. Taking 20 minutes out of almost any ride is a big, big deal because It's not, not every ride has like a 90-minute wait. The majority of the middling attractions, okay, your B ticket, C ticket, et cetera, those are going to have something like 40-minute waits. So when we talk about a 20-minute reduction, it's a big deal. Okay, that's it. I think the secret thing that's becoming not so secret is that if you take something that is magical to so many, that being the Disney parks, and you make it, you bring the mundane out of the real world into it, and you do that over and over and over, and then you monetize that process, you will kill it. And that, I think, is what Disney has done. For example, the experience of going into the Magic Kingdom, and Jay can tell you this.
Yep.
The experience for the average person who goes to the Magic Kingdom, not the wealthy. It's a different experience for the wealthy or for those who know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. But for the average person, you go to the parking lot, you wait for a tram. You get on the tram, you wait to go through security. You go through security, you wait to get on a monorail. You get off the monorail, you wait to go through the ticket turnstiles. That is the worst part of airport clearance, repeated over and over and over for everybody involved.
Yeah.
You take Epcot, for example. Epcot was, it was supposed to be completely redone, right? Half the park was essentially going to be new, but they ran out of money. And so now what we get is less than what we had before, but it's taking 6 years to do it. And when it's finished, we will have a downgraded park versus if they had just left it alone. Mm-hmm. These are the kinds of terrible money pit decisions that the company has made that have overall degraded the experience. And the problem for Disney, unlike what the box office is, they can't afford to fix it anymore. Their attractions are outdated. The number of things that need to happen now are exceeding and accelerating beyond what they can budget for. And it's a problem.
You just went to the parks recently, and of course, somebody else who's here, who is a huge expert on the parks, Drunk 3PO, is joining us.
I don't know if I'm an expert, but
I'm calling you an expert today.
I thought Pablo Hidalgo was here. That's why.
He was. Pablo cannot join us this week, Jay. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I think the biggest issue that people are missing, and Pro might have said this, is for instance, yesterday, Pirates of the Caribbean ride was down for 2 days.
Yep.
No reason why.
Wow. It's been down for like the last 2 weeks sporadically until now.
It's half the rides at Hollywood Studios break down while you're in line, and they send you away. So you can't ride. And those experiences are getting out via social media. And for me, I know my friends that live out of state, and their biggest issue is the reservation system. It is too difficult for them to get a ticket and get into the park, because it's like, I bought a ticket. Okay. So yeah, just because you bought a ticket doesn't mean you can get into the park on the day you want to go. So what does that mean? Well, that means you have to make a reservation and hope that you can get into the park on the day that you want to go after you paid the money for a ticket, which doesn't happen all the time. So now,
Jay, the other issue then is that once you're in the parks, you have to live on your device, because you are tethered to the app to do all of your mobile orders, to get your reservations for your restaurants, etc. And this app is a battery destroying, beast. And on top of that, your phone is popping from Wi-Fi connection to Wi-Fi connection as you cross the parks, and that's killing your batteries. It continues to search for new hotspots, and so your phone dies halfway through the experience, and now you're just out. Now you don't have the way to order the foot-long hot dog from Casey's.
Well,
It's a horrible system.
yeah, that's when you get in, but it's people that I've spoken to, they literally have actually there's somebody at Universal today that was going to Disney. I was supposed to meet them, but the weather here is pretty bad, and so we didn't go. And they literally said I was trying to get into Disney, but they don't even want my money. I don't even know how to get into the parks anymore because you can't drive up and go to the ticket booth and get a ticket and go in. Those days since the lockdown, that's
Yep.
just what they changed. And so it's confusing for a lot of people that want to go to the walk up. Here's my money. Give me a ticket. I want to go inside. And the crazy thing was the people that I know at Universal were contemplating the same system until they saw so many complaints of people saying, I'm not coming back to this park because it's just too complicated to get in. And so they decided not to do that. So they changed their mind on that type of thing. Now, the bad thing about Universal is if the park is full, once you pull up to the parking lot, they have signs out saying you can come and park here, but you can't get into it. And they'll have a sign saying Islands of Adventure is full, or Universal or Volcano Bay or whatever, that it's hit capacity.
Right. It's
And
old capacity system that Disney had back in the 90s, when they had different capacity levels, capacity 1,
Right.
2, 3, 4.
But those systems were put in place for the pandemic. So Disney did those and they just never changed it. So it was just kind of like, we got to keep a track on how many people are in the park. We got to keep a limit. So we're going to do a reservation system. Even though you spent the money to have an annual pass, which is supposed to give you access 365 days a year to any park, to park hop to wherever you want to go. They changed all that right in the middle. And what they did for people with those annual passes, but they just gave them a couple extra months for free. And they threw in a 30% discount for a month on stuff. It's just, for people just don't, like you said, people, they just want to go to the theme parks and walk around and get on a ride or two and buy some ice cream, maybe a pretzel, a couple churros, and then head home. It has become a complicated nightmare just to get into the park. And so that is having a big blowback. That is why this past summer, Disney has changed a lot of that on the reservation. They're like, okay, well, now if you have an annual pass, if you show up after 2:00 on certain parks, you don't need to get a reservation. It's still complicated. It's still stupid. It's like, so after 2:00, you can go to a park without a reservation system if you have one of these annual passes, and you could park hop to another park after 4. But make sure that park is. I mean, yeah, it's a night. It's like, I just want to go to the park. Like,
here's the real insanity, Jay. This is a decade of incompetence. I mean, really, because the way that you solve that problem of capacity issues is you make your parks bigger. You have all the land you could ever want. And yet, after a decade of development at the Walt Disney Resort, what have they done? Well, they took Hollywood Studios and they transformed it. And it now has the same number of rides it had before and perhaps even less capacity. They did the same thing with Epcot. That has turned into a construction zone for 6 years.
Yeah,
and at the end of it, will they have more rides? No. You'll have the same thing you had before, downgraded.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, and then you've got the Magic Kingdom. You literally have the most popular attraction in the world via polling that we have seen now, Splash Mountain, literally the most popular attraction in the world, and you destroyed that instead of doing all the huge number of things you need to do to increase the footprint of these parks so that you don't have these capacity concerns.